but then after that it gets a little more hairy. And the state will go to your distant cousin 12th removed to find someone. And in the end, they can't find anyone, the state gets it. So, and you didn't work so hard all your life just to have that wander that way. So, and then also, let's see here. And then, and then the other process in that is the conservatorship, which is, okay, something happens to you, you're disabled, and now it's up to the courts to appoint someone. And it's a harrowing experience. I've filed these before. It's draining on family, friends. It costs a lot of money. It takes a lot of time, and you have no control. And that you already have no control being down and out, not feeling well. But now you have no control over all your hard work and how everything's going to end up. So it's really important to have a power of attorney in place. Very simple document to do, instead of no document, because the consequences are something you can't undo when you need it the most. And let's see here. And then the next area I wanted to talk about is probate. So the reason, it's kind of interesting how probate works. It's so the lawyer that may have not really known about estate planning in its detail, like a personal injury lawyer doing estate planning, drafts a will, puts a home in it, and now that person passes, and guess who gets to reap the rewards of this? That same lawyer. So my question is, why are we rewarding the lawyer that drafted these documents with the $4,000 an hour that they earn for the 6 hours of work? So it's about $23,000 on $1 million property. So it's 6 hours of work, and they give them about $4,000 an hour. so if you, I know it's kind of crazy, but it's all set by statute, and there's nothing you can really do about it. So my thing is, let's reward the estate planning lawyers, whether myself or others, who are trying to change that to be more of a in trust, having assets held in trust rather than in these other ways. So now I want to arm you with some words and phrases or scenarios that you want to listen for to suggest my estate planning services. And where'd that go? Sorry. Oops, they're over here. All right. So someone you know has been in business for a few years and has hired employees, and they are telling you about the ups and downs of the business. You could reply with, have you thought about what would happen to all of your hard work if you couldn't be there for a period of time? It might be a good time to talk to this great estate planning attorney I know. He will help you come up with a backup plan just in case something happens. Or a close friend announces they're getting married, or they're expecting or buying a house. These are all life-changing events that could require an estate plan review, or often there's no estate plan documents even in place to put one in place. And things you could listen for like an expecting mother is, have you thought about who would take care of your children if something were to happen? There's no time like the present to make sure you know that there will be in case something does. And they'll think of you when something does, that you give them peace of mind that everything's handled. So it's a touchy subject, I know. It's not the most easy cocktail conversation, but often it comes up in those scenarios as well. People approach me all the time in those informal settings about, oh, this happened, and so. Home purchase, I hear if you own a house, if something happens, if there isn't an estate plan, it could be a painful process which could be avoided. I'm not clear on the specifics, but it couldn't hurt for you to talk to an estate planning lawyer I know. And then in the probate setting, let's imagine you're at a party and a friend tells you that someone they knew just passed away and now their estate is going through probate. You could reply with something along the lines, that sounds like a long and stressful process. Wouldn't you like to avoid having that happen to your family? I know of a great estate planning lawyer who could help you avoid probate. Or taking that example one step further, and that your friend's now saying, oh, and I'm the executor, I don't even know what to do. And you could reply, that sounds like an awful lot of work for you. How are you deciding which lawyer to hire? I'm not sure. I suppose I will contact the attorney who drafted the will. That'd be wrong. That'd be a great time to step in and go, no, why reward that attorney? Let's give it to the other estate planning, right? So anyway, yeah. So anyway, that's what the extent of the presentation. Michael Lehr, State Planning Attorney, where I hope to earn your trust. Yeah. So I'd like to open it to questions about the formatting or.
The difference between a will and a trust.
So a will is a document that basically you can even handwrite yourself, or when it's formally done, it's just witnessed by two witnesses, and you can put everything in there that you own, including your house. But what happens is that anything over $150,000 has to go through probate. That's
It's in a will.
if it's in a will, the way the court, so whether it's a business, bank accounts, cash is piling up, or, you get an inheritance and it's piling up in some account, that would then automatically trigger probate. And the reason for probate is just the orderly distribution of assets to beneficiaries after somebody's passed. And a way to sidestep that is putting it in a trust. And a trust, you just have to look at it as a vessel to hold all your stuff in. And that gives specific instructions to the trustee to then distribute those assets. And it's, is that a foolproof method? No. I mean, Robin Williams just passed, and the thing is, he filed lawsuits because, it wasn't clear, and he was very clear, I thought. But anyway, it's interesting how this all plays out. People are, yeah, go ahead.
Do you do trust?
Oh yeah, that's the main part of it. Yeah, trust, I'm always saying that's the, that's what you want to have, is a trust. Even if you don't think you have assets, you set up a trust, and then assets will grow into it. So, yeah.
So then are you the trustee?
Am I a trustee? No, you designate a trustee. So there's three parts. When you're alive and you own a trust, you're all three. You're the trust maker, the trustee, and you also own the assets that are in the trust. And when you pass, that breaks into three separate things. So the trust maker is no longer here. The trustee is now in charge of the assets that are in the trust. And it all becomes irrevocable after you pass. So it all needs to be designated and set up beforehand, or before you become disabled. You just want to make sure that that's all handled. And it's the same rules of incapacity and undue influence that exist for wills, that trusts get attacked as well. So I have to verify that somebody has a clear mind and knows what they're doing before they set that up. Yep?
The probate court ends up being $24,000.
Well, on $1 million, yeah.
On $1 million.
Yeah, on $1 million, which is easy to do for a broom closet here in San Francisco, you would end up with a legal bill for the attorney for $23,000. And then for the executor, let's say there needs to be one appointed, the court will appoint an executor, they get another $23,000, and then a $4,470 filing fee. So you're looking at $50,000 just to get this asset to the people that you really want it to. And often people lose their homes over this because they can't pay for the bill, and it's just something to be avoided.
So then how much does an estate stand for?
Well, it just depends on the complexity of the estate. Anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000, I'd like to say, somewhere around there. Usually around $2,000 somewhere. But it depends. It's custom tailored, so I have to look at the whole thing.
So my aunt just gave me an executor to her will,
Oh.
and I have no idea what that will, and it's kind of awkward to ask.
No, well, no. Now is a great. It would be a great time to ask. You want to maybe look at her will because you're going to be in charge of executing on her instructions. And when you're looking at that will and you see a home in there, that would be a great time to go, well, do you know what will happen? Which is that it will end up in probate court. And the lawyer that drafted that will is now going to get rewarded again by not just her business in terms of drafting the will, but by getting the $23,000. So have her come to me and I'll redraft those documents for her so that doesn't happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any privacy benefits to putting something into, say, like a trust as compared to a will?
Well, yeah. Anything in the court is public records, unless you're Robin Williams and you can have it all sealed. But for everyone else, it's public, it's lengthy, and it costs a lot of money, as we know. So putting it in a trust is external from all that. Yeah, it costs a little bit more money up front, but the benefits far outweigh that, and it's private. It's all inside of, unless you have relatives that are going to dispute the whole thing, like Robin Williams, it's just a current example. Then otherwise, it's much easier, and it's much easier transition. I might add, trust. There is also what's called trust administration. And a trustee, like you're the executor for your aunt's will. Now, the trustee may not know what to do. There's accounting that needs to be done and other, informing beneficiaries, all of that. An attorney also helps with those aspects, but it takes far less time and it's not as consuming as the executor under court review. Everything's under court review there, so. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael.